Hello and welcome to Homes and Loans, your Metro Detroit market update report. I'm here with Eric Gashko with Neo Home Loans. Eric is our preferred lender here at REMAX, the collective agency. Every Friday, we are bringing you the latest news when it comes to homes and loans. And so today we're actually closing out the month of May, and we've got some great information for you. Eric, what are you seeing on the mortgage side?
So on the mortgage end of it, May was a rough month for mortgages. Rates went up in general. We're hoping to see that turn around a little bit moving forward. Yesterday, Reserve Chairman Powell met with Trump in the Oval Office to try to get the Fed to maybe ease some of their interest rates down. We also had inflation come in this morning, lighter than it was year over year. So we had a year over year reduction in inflation, both of which point to a slowing economy and hopefully better interest rates in the future.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And that kind of goes in line with what I found as well. Homes.com recently published 15 of the top 40 housing markets in the United States saw price stagnation or decline in the month of April. So we are seeing some stagnation and even decline in some of the major markets in the United States. And the main cause of that is just simple supply and demand. It's rising inventory and rising rates, which are pulling buyers back. So price growth is finally cooling, especially in the red hot markets like, Phoenix and Florida and Cali. Metro Detroit is starting to catch up to some of that ripple effect, but we're behind those red hot markets. Now, with that being said, we have had nearly 2,000 price reductions in the past week alone. What do you think that's, obviously, where do you think rates are heading? Because I recently saw some good news, finally. Again,
Where was it at?
Homes.com put this out just 2 days ago. Fannie Mae now forecasts 9 million home sales in 2025. That's a 4% increase from last year. So more home sales going on. You know, the market has been so bottlenecked. So it's nice to see some of that inventory starting to be released a little bit. But that is what actually is causing that stagnation in the market. However, Fannie Mae just came out. And so beginning of the year, Fannie Mae predicted that we'd land somewhere around 6.8% for our interest rate by the end of 2025. They revised that 2 days ago to 6.4. So now they think, or Fannie Mae is predicting that we will see a 6.4% interest rate by end of 2025. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. That's where I was going to go with when you started talking about Fannie and the housing forecast. Was they also lowered their projections for rates? That's based on all of the um, data that seems to be going out showing that the economy is slowing. If you look over the last few days, like I'd mentioned, Trump's meeting with Federal Reserve Chairman, inflation seems to be coming down. The jobs market seems to be weakening. And yesterday, actually, the government came out and showed that Q2 um, GDP is again forecasted to be negative. Meaning, so if you think about what the definition of a recession is, the definition of a recession is 2 quarters with negative GDP. Now, it was negative in Q1. Now they're forecasting it on the second revision to still be negative in Q2. So I think that's what Fannie's looking at. They're just looking at the fundamentals. And once all this noise from the tariffs gets moved out, they're saying, hey, underlying all of this is a weaker economy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There is a lot of noise right now. I am optimistic about, the Q3 and Q4 of 2025. I am very optimistic. I do think the rates are going to come down. It seems that we're overdue for that coming down. Here's what I do. REMAX just came out with an article. Inventory up 36% year over year. That's marking 16 straight months of increases in inventory. So that's not looking good. So we need the rates to pull down to reinvigorate the buyer market, I believe, in my opinion. New listings are up 7.5% year over year, but median sale price rose to 440, which is up 10 grand year over year. So still a slight bit of appreciation, and that's according to REMAX housing report. The inventory is finally loosening up, but which is giving buyers more choices. It's also flattening the market a little bit. Again, that stagnation that we're seeing right now today. But if and when that rate does pull down to that 6.4, it should flood more buyers into it, which should give us a little bit more elevated values in our markets. To conclude, I want to leave for if you're a buyer right now, you do have negotiating power right now today. So I would personally, if I was a buyer, I would get out in the market today. I would use the buy downs to get the rate down, wait for the market to come down, and refinance when the rates do come down. Because what's going to happen, and I'm sure Eric, you would agree with me, when and if the rates do come down to that low six, the buyers will flood the market again, which will create a lot of competition again in the market. Today, while inventory is higher, buyer demand is lower, is your time to negotiate a deal if you're a buyer, in my opinion. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if it was Warren Buffett or who said it, but it was like you should be buying when everyone else is selling and vice versa. Right
Yeah,
now, if you're looking for the biggest opportunity in housing, it is to buy before everyone else in the market does. And then you're right, that's right now. There's so many people sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what happens with tariffs, waiting to see what happens with rates. And at the end of the day, it's at their neglect that they're going to get hurt. I mean, they could be making that appreciation in their house over the next year if they get in now instead of paying the existing owner for that appreciation in a year from now. So I couldn't agree more.
perfect. One last thought. If you're a seller right now, this is my last thought. If you're a seller right now, the inventory is stacking up. Stale listings are stacking up. So if you are selling right now today, don't forget, it's not the 2021 market anymore. We've got higher inventory, lower demand due to high interest rates. So we need to price accordingly, at least right now for today.
Well, and something to think about, right? Let me just add to that. I know you're trying to cut it off, but let me just add to that. Think about some what your buyers are seeing and what hurt points do they have right now? It's interest rates, right? So maybe instead of a direct reduction in price, what if you went out and advertised that, hey, I'll get you this house. We'll sell you this house at 5.5% or at 5%. Holy cow, that just solves my affordability issue, right? That drops my payment by $500 a month. I'll take that all day, every day over a $10,000 price reduction, right? Which doesn't mean very much to my payment because that's what scares me right now. So this is a great time to be thinking creatively around how to market these and realize that the same issue everyone is having is affordability. It's that month to month payment that no one wants to make. So how can you solve that? Well, maybe as a seller, you say, hey, we'll pay for the buy down for you. Let's say a buy down on a $500,000 house is 10 grand. Well, that beats offer that instead of dropping your price 10 grand. That's going to help the buyer out more than your $10,000 price reduction.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. The main problem right now is the monthly payment.
It
The
is. It's
monthly
what's
payment
scaring
is
everybody.
unaffordable. Property taxes have gone through the roof. Interest rates make it unaffordable, and the housing values. So you have a trifecta there with taxes, values, and interest rates that are it's just simply making housing unaffordable today. And it's actually quite sad. So we'll see what the future has to hold, but finally some positive news. Hopefully we do in fact get down to the low sixes by end of this year. The market gets a little bit more reinvigorated. But right now today, while we are still in a seller's market with less than 2 months supply of inventory, it's definitely not as strong as it was in February, March, or April.